We're on Lent 4 in year A for coming up on March 15th, 2026. Let's take a look at the psalm. It's Psalm 142. It's the note on this says it was written by David when he was in the cave, and David had a lot of enemies throughout his whole life. He had to run away from one of his sons at one point because the son and his buddies were trying to kill David. He had to run away from King Saul because King Saul knew that David was going to replace him as king. Anyway. He's in a cave. He's running away from his enemies. His life is very, very much in danger. And so this psalm expresses how he's feeling at this point while he is hiding from one of these enemies. I cry aloud with my voice to the Lord. I make supplication with my voice to the Lord. I pour out my complaint before him. I declare my trouble before him. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, thou didst know my path in the way where I walk. I think a lot of times we get afraid to tell God how we're feeling, especially if we're not feeling very good, if things aren't going very well and we're upset, frustrated, troubled, overwhelmed, afraid, angry, disappointed. I think sometimes there's this sense that, when you pray, you should only say nice things and don't bother God with the difficult things that are going on in your life. You need to kind of get yourself together. And the Psalms, in a really wonderful way, speak the lie of that. David expressed all kinds of things to God, and we can as well. David was a man after God's own heart. And so that gives us courage and freedom and permission even to say what we need to say to God. God is big enough to handle all of our emotions and the ways that we're feeling about whatever happens to be going on right now. So David's in pretty dire straits at this point, and he's telling God all about it. He's pouring out his trouble. He's not holding anything back, nor do we have to. It says his spirit is overwhelmed. Don't we feel like that? That's pretty universal, I would say, for any human being. But there's hope there too. Thou didst know my path in the way where I walk. Even when it seems like all is lost. I don't know, maybe David felt, well, he says, verse 6, deliver me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. He doesn't seem to have a lot of hope that any deliverance is going to come for him. And this is David. David has slain his 10,000s. David killed Goliath. David is an unbelievable warrior and conquester. But at this point, he was overwhelmed. But what's interesting about this, in verse 7, he says, bring my soul out of prison. Why? Not so that he can go destroy his enemies, not so that he can, tell some great story. He says, so that I may give thanks to thy name. Everything that God does for us and provides for us and delivers us from needs to be for his own glory, because we clearly can't. We can't deliver ourselves. We can't protect ourselves. We can't provide for ourselves. We can't teach ourselves. We can't grow ourselves in spiritual fruit. All of that is from God. And so when we are in the depths of despair, when we are in the prison of persecution or overwhelm, We can pray to be delivered from that so that God's name will be glorified, so that we can give thanks to him. That's what he wants, because we're his children, and he behaves in incredible, outsized, over-the-top ways for us again and again and again and again, to show us how much he loves us, and because he loves our praise, he loves our adoration, he loves our reverence. David continues, the righteous will surround me. He'll get to go home. He does have a little bit of hope here at the end of the psalm. The righteous will surround me, for thou, God, wilt deal bountifully with me. The psalm turns around. Where he ends is not where he started. Something happened in that cave as David thought these words, or was given these words by the Spirit, and either wrote them down or memorized them and wrote them down some other time. He had a transformation. There was an experience of God that David had in this cave that changed his whole attitude and outlook from my spirit is overwhelmed within me, I'm pouring out my complaint, I'm declaring my trouble, to the righteous will surround me. Thou wilt deal bountifully with me. His hope is restored. Has that ever happened for you, where you just feel like you cannot possibly go on? There is no way forward. There's no deliverance coming. Nothing's going to change. It will never be different than it is now. But then it is. That comes straight from the Lord. We don't do that. Maybe as you're meditating on this psalm, try to think of one place in your life where you have been without hope, and you have prayed, and you have poured out your heart, and you have made your supplication, and you have told God of your complaint, and God has delivered you. You're not in that situation anymore. And then see if you can do it forward. What situation are you in right now that feels like the prison of this cave? You're running for your life. There is no escape. You're surrounded by enemies. You can't see a way forward. You don't have hope. Can you live it in the future and trust that he will deal bountifully with you? Can you trust what has happened in the past to happen again? It's in the nature of God to act in accordance with himself. The way that he has always been is the way that he will continue to be, and he will continue to be that for you in your life. So see if you can find one way that he's done this in the past, and use that to propel yourself, to allow him to transform your hopelessness about whatever you're going through right now into hope. Thou wilt deal bountifully with me. And then walk forward this week with that hope.